Watch this.
Putting numbers to paper. The governor's vision for the budget is becoming more clear as a debate's underway for what's best for Idaho's checkbook. The end of an era for a shopping center where business was once buzzing.
And we've been lucky enough to stay here till it gets demolished.
One of the last stores standing in the Boise outlets is saying its goodbyes. Back in action at the State House. Lawmakers are already hitting on major topics in week one. The primary focus this session will be the budget battle. The governor touched on some concepts in his pitch in the State of the State on Monday, but now we are seeing the actual paperwork and the numbers and ideas in depth. Well, Joe Paris is following the budget proposals in JFAC. What does this all kind of center on?
Well, the hanging question is centered on really Medicaid cuts. How do the numbers all fall there, Hunter? And now that we actually have the paperwork in the budget proposal, the real debates begin. So the governor talked about cuts during his State of the State, but didn't specify in detail exactly what those millions in cuts could include. And now, according to budget documents, we know in his proposal, some cost-saving measures come as follows in Medicaid cuts: removal of the pharmacy benefit for non-expansion adults on Medicaid, removal of adult dental services, removal of home and community-based services, the removal of physical, occupational, and speech therapy services, removal of case management, removal of hospice. The list goes on and does also include some things like chiropractic services and, most notably, as some people have pointed out, adult audiology services as well as vision services. And that list that you see there is basically all of them. We could read it all, but it would take the whole show. But basically, the budget proposal was presented by the Department of Financial Management, the administrator, Lori Wolf, and she discussed the real-world conversations, the reality of picking cuts.
Every single cut that we had to make has impacts. In some cases, there are going to be cost shifts as we're saving in other areas. I know in Medicaid, which is one of the reasons we want to work with all of you on some of those additional statutory changes, we have to take a good look at, what we are funding and what some of those impacts are. I think every single Medicaid decision we make, we're going to have to be thoughtful about those things we reduce and how we make sure we look at that continuum of care.
On another topic, the governor committed to no K-12 cuts during his State of the State, but his budget actually targets accountability in that sector, specifically online education. He proposed $23 million in cuts from virtual public school funding by eliminating supplemental learning funds as well as transportation funding for virtual schools. Supplemental funds are the ones we covered late last year. That's money that was sent to virtual school families in the public school sector to cover education costs. A legislative audit found that money was being spent on non-education funds, or arguably non-education funds, depending on your perspective. Paddleboards, video game controllers, Disney Plus accounts were popular examples from the OPE report. In addition, $10 million proposed to cut through the Idaho Digital Learning Academy. The goal here, they say, is to right-size public funding for it.
The governor knows that IDLA is an important part in many situations. My kids took IDLA courses. It offers flexibility. What we're trying to do here is just make sure, as we look at this 300% growth in what we're paying in online schools, and yet our classroom we're still struggling with discretionary funding to be able to do maintenance and basic things there. We need to look at what are we funding, how do we do this, and how do we right-size it.
And in a higher overarching sense, there is an expected conversation in JFAC that's already ongoing, a debate about the revenue projections for the state of Idaho, as well as costs to the state from the One Big Beautiful Bill, specifically the tax conformity questions on cuts, something that Governor Little and lawmakers, they want to opt into those cuts that were passed federally and conform the state code with the federal code. The fiscal year 2027 budget projects a total general fund revenue of $5.68 billion, with expenditures of $5.63 billion, leaving a tight ending balance of about $25.5 million. So questions remain about how revenue numbers will actually look. There are projections right now, and debate centers on controversy from last session and how they got to numbers.
we're in the position we're in because this committee didn't vote on a revenue number until late, and then we backed our expenses into the revenue number we wanted so we could do some tax cuts. And now we're going to suffer for it. And I think, you know, I'm strapped in. I know it's going to be a rough ride, but I would hope that we would all work together to recognize why we're here.
Last year we had some challenges, a lot of challenges. This year is going to be easy, okay? So on revenue, our plan is we've got Economic Outlook Committee Wednesday, Thursday this week, and our hope is that we can all come together on Friday and set the revenue right up front so we don't have that problem like last year, okay?
Several components of the budget require legislative action through policy bills, so not just numbers like the policies behind them. And that includes tax conformity, Medicaid reductions and changes, and the online school funding changes we talked about. Also, a request to use interest from savings accounts, aka rainy day funds, for the general fund, which means not technically using the principal funds, but again, the interest that by statute is supposed to go somewhere else. The proposal from the governor is seeking permission for a one-time change on that. Hunter, we can see that lawmakers in JFAC, some clearly not thrilled with the proposal, some heavy questions, and we're going to follow that up with the co-chair of JFAC on Friday, Josh Tanner.
Already some big debate there, and also, you know, something to mention, easy. I'd like easy to be the word.
Super easy.
That'd be nice. All right, Joe, thanks. Well, now to your 4 and 1. A former BSU football coach just received a major honor, plus a bridge in Caldwell will need to be replaced soon. But first, former Idaho Governor and Secretary of the Interior Dirk Kempthorne will have a room named after him aboard the USS Idaho. Senator Jim Risch requested the name change last month in honor of Kempthorne's contributions to the ship and support of the U.S. military. The U.S. Navy commanding officer says it's rare for spaces aboard U.S. Navy submarines to be named after people. The engine room on the USS Idaho will now be named after Kempthorne, and a plaque will be displayed with his name. Well, the wait is over. The winningest coach in Boise State program history, Chris Peterson, has been selected to the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame. It's the first time a Boise State coach will be entered into the Hall of Fame. Randy Troutman is the only other Bronco to have his name immortalized in the Hall of Fame. Peterson will be inducted December 8th this year in Las Vegas. And the city of Caldwell is implementing weight restrictions on Blaine Street at 6th Avenue starting tomorrow. State inspectors found the aging Indian Creek Bridge unsafe for heavy loads. Commercial trucks, emergency vehicles, and school buses over certain weight limits, ranging from 12 to 28 tons, must detour via 10th Avenue and Chicago Street to 5th Avenue. Now, regular cars weighing less than 12 tons can still cross. The bridge will be removed soon to be replaced with a full closure to follow, and that's the 4 and 1. Okay, so we're all things Idaho here on the 208, from the big picture to the little details. Well, today we're taking a look at the little ones, literally. We're talking about baby names. Baby names can show a glimpse into what resonated with the culture throughout different decades. While sometimes names are simply timeless, others can make a comeback years later. Well, we wanted to find out what names dominated in the Gem State in 2025. So later in the show, we are taking a look at those top baby names. And we want to hear from you. What do you think they are? We're taking a look at the boys and girls. So text us your best guesses and we'll clear up which names define 2025 for newborns in Idaho. Standing south of Boise for more than 30 years, the Boise factory outlets could soon be wiped from the map. The shopping center has served as a marker for drivers that after a long journey, you're finally entering Boise, and you're just minutes away from being back home. While for others, it represents days gone by when the internet wasn't about buying the trendiest clothes for a discounted price, and one of the best ways to spend the day was meeting up with friends to shop. Well, last year, semi-truck dealership Kenworth bought the property. Kenworth has submitted a demolition proposal to the city of Boise that would remove 5 buildings and most of the landscaping on the property, clearing the way for future development. If approved, it would mark the end of an era. For a mall that once buzzed with shoppers, now sits mostly empty. But for one of the original remaining stores, the story isn't about buildings coming down, it's about people saying goodbye.
You'll have to come back before the end.
In retail, making it through the years can be hard. But what can be even harder
See you guys.
I know.
is watching other businesses go, then being the last one standing and the last one left to close the door for good.
Yeah, I know. Had a customer one time ask for a coat without arms, and I said, "You mean a vest?"
For 30 years, Eddie Bauer has been full of life,
There you go.
a rhythm that has defined Diana's life since it opened in 2001.
We've seen it from bustling on Black Friday to, practically just weeds and crickets. But Eddie Bauer has always done extremely well. And we've been lucky enough to stay here till it gets demolished.
But some things don't demolish so easily.
That have come in here over the years. We've seen people come and go. We've seen children grow up, have children of their own.
Now saying goodbye to people who feel more like family than faces.
It's bittersweet.
And also behind the counter, the people she mentored, including her close friend.
Diana was the one who kind of, any bad days that I had, any customers that got to me, I could talk to her and she would smooth it over. You know, she would just make things feel like it'll be okay, they'll be back. As long as you made it right for the customer, nobody gets in trouble.
Find everything all right?
Diana, I live by those words, and just the fact that being stressed out, holidays, she said, find the fun in it, and I have done that, and I'm still with the company. I will miss her a lot.
It wasn't just co-workers, but the people coming into the shop.
Gosh, we've been coming into this store since it's been here. Half my wardrobe's probably from this store. And Diana and the staff that have been here quite a while are like family. And when I was saying goodbye to Diana, she started to cry. I mean, it's just really sad to see the store close.
But before the walls could come down, what used to hold backpacks now holds memories.
Oh no, I'll never shop again. That's a good one. You know what?
In a mall built for transactions, Diana built loyalty, family, and memories. And as the building prepares to come down, Diana is slowing down too. A retirement after decades of serving the community behind the counter.
I've loved retail. I love people. I need people. I'm going to miss them. And retirement will be nice.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
I swear we need more people like Diana. So sweet. Eddie Bauer Outlet will close on January 28th, and they don't plan to open another outlet store. But there is the regular price store down at Boise Town Square. You might be able to catch Diana there from time to time because she's going to step in to help where needed. Though you're always going to find her there probably in her free time too.
Well, sunshine reigns supreme across most of our viewing area today, but as we look at our live cams here of road conditions, we see clear skies from Boise out to Twin Falls up into Valley County. Look at Payette County, though. This is I-84 and Highway 95. Live look. The fog has been lingering all day. It's been kind of coming and going as far as the density of the fog, but still visibility right now west of Canyon County, still very much an issue. In fact, look at Ontario registering 0 visibility right now. You want to know what that looks like? This is a live look at I-84 out in Ontario. You can see just how dangerously dense that fog is. It has also had a big impact on temperatures. Ontario right now sitting at 32 degrees. We'll talk in a moment about the temperatures and see what an impact that sunshine had versus where those places stayed socked in. Now, heads up, while the fog right now is isolated to portions of Payette County, Washington County, and far eastern Oregon, I do expect dense fog to redevelop overnight, be a little more widespread than what we saw this morning. Visibility by tomorrow morning could be as low as a quarter mile or less. So this is a first alert weather morning, as that could slow the morning commute. Remember those low beams, slow your speeds, allow extra travel time, and use extra caution in places where kiddos might be walking or waiting for the bus, including those school zones. These are very dangerous conditions, and they can change rapidly. You can be in clear conditions and then hit a wall of fog, and that can really slow you down. So extra caution tomorrow morning and Friday morning. 2 more first alert days in a row. Temperatures right now in the 40s from Boise eastward, but just at that 32-degree mark in Ontario. You can really tell that fog where the sun can't break through. It really holds those temperatures down, and that will likely be the case again tomorrow. So Boise area, likely seeing some fog early on. The sunshine will break through quicker than it will west of Boise, so we'll climb to the low 40s with a mostly sunny sky by the afternoon. It will be cold tomorrow morning, well below freezing in the Snake River Plain tomorrow, single digits and teens in the mountains. So freezing fog, a possibility, could be just a little bit slick in some spots. Again, if the fog isn't as dense as today, we may see places like Ontario, Caldwell, Weiser, up to 40 degrees tomorrow. These are expected high temperatures, but if that fog persists, it will not allow those temperatures to warm to 40. So it just kind of depends what the fog decides to do tomorrow, how strong it stays. That will really influence temperatures. I do think Boise will see more sunshine today than other places tomorrow than other places in the Treasure Valley. And then after that, our inversion holds steady all the way through next week. So again, very little day-to-day change outside of that fog in the morning and where it decides to develop. All right, quick check of those traffic conditions. Yes, the haze is evident. You can tell our inversion is strengthening. You can see, especially at at Highway 16 and State Street, you can see the fog there, your upper left-hand corner. It is mostly clear across, again, most of our main commute area. So as you look at our current traffic flow, we are seeing slow and go conditions from the Flying Y in Boise and then off and on all the way through Nampa. So you'll be tapping the brakes quite a bit along I-84. But again, the fog won't impact visibility until you get out west of Boise.
Okay, now that we're firmly in 2026, we can look back at the year before with a better idea of what 2025 meant to us. The bad stuff, the good, and for many families, that good stuff arrived in the form of a baby. Earlier in the show, we asked you to send in your guesses for the most popular baby names in Idaho in 2025. We're going to get to those names. Correct. But first, we're going to talk about some of your guesses. For some of those boy names you wrote in, we got Colt, Clyde, Jack, and Ashton with a Y or no. I mean, there's options. And for girls, we got Jane, Annette, and Ashton with an O or a Y. Okay, so we're bringing Rachel to the desk. You have kids. You know, you've gone through this process of naming children.
Exactly, and names that you think are so unique until you name your child that, and then all of a sudden they're everywhere, like our daughter Addison. Yeah. We didn't know any Addisons until we named her Addison, and now there's Addies everywhere. Yeah. But we still love it. It's great, but I wonder if that's the case with a lot of parents these days, too.
I know. Yeah. It's fun to see these lists. Okay, so breaking these down. Rachel, what do you think the top most popular names for Idaho were this year?
I am so out of the mix with babies right now. I don't know. I think we're out of like the popularity of like the McKennas, Mackenzies, all of those, right? They're still out there. Yeah. But I'm thinking maybe it's not those this year. Maybe a little more traditional. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a good pitch there. I like that. Okay, so Idaho Health and Welfare sent in these numbers, so we're going to kick it off with Canyon County. Okay. We're starting with the boys this time. Here's the list of the top 10. Ezra coming in 5th.
Ezra, see?
Yeah.
Kind of traditional, old school. I like it.
Yes. Then James, Theodore, Hudson, and Liam coming in number 1. I actually wanted to name my future kids, if I have kids someday, I want Liam, but it's number 1 now.
I think that was one of the number 1 national boys' name as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, now to the baby girls in Canyon County. Coming in 5th most popular name is Evelyn, then Hazel, Olivia, Charlotte, and the reigning name with 18 girls, Amelia.
Oh,
I love that.
I
Those
do
are good
too.
ones. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to Idaho's most populated county, Ada County. Starting off with 5th, Evelyn, then Lainey, Amelia's in there, Olivia, and Charlotte taking number 1 with 35 girls with that name.
Okay, I
Not
love
surprised.
those.
I feel like I've heard Charlotte.
I
quite
feel
a
like
bit.
Charlotte is coming back. I love
Yeah.
Hazel. I see that on the list
Yeah.
too. So cute. Okay, top boy names in Ada County. Elijah comes in 5th. Then we have Bennett, Oliver, Theodore, and number 1 with 43 baby boys named this is Henry, which is actually our son's middle name. So we kind of got one of our names in there.
I didn't even think about that. Henry,
Yeah.
I have a cousin,
Henry's
Henry.
good.
Yeah.
See, again, those
It's a good
traditional
name.
names. I love it. And I like names like that are like good for a baby, but also
Yes.
a grown-up name.
Right.
You know?
It's a
cute.
mix,
Yep, good
little
ones.
and big.
Yeah.
Okay, now to the top names in the entire state of Idaho for boys, starting in 5th. Liam's there, then Hudson, Henry, Oliver, and number 1, Theodore, with 129 baby boys.
Okay, and Theodore is one where you can have a million nicknames from that, right?
Yes.
Theo, Teddy, all the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so top girl names across the entire Gem State. We'll start off with number 5, which is Emma. I should have guessed Emma.
Yeah.
There's lots of Emmas. I
Lots
love
of
that name.
Emmas.
Then there's Olivia, Evelyn, Amelia, and number 1 with 110 baby girls named this across the state is Charlotte. That's a very popular one.
It is?
Yeah.
All right, well, now you can take that with you if you're naming a baby soon. Okay, let's look at some of your comments. We have Jacqueline. I love the Factory Outlet Mall. I remember a coffee shop there that made a mean velvet hammer. Best cup of coffee ever. Good times. Isn't it sad to see it go? I used to drive up to Boise all the time just to visit the outlet factory. So it's tough. Okay, and then my next thing, I just have to bring attention to this. I know we said no ties, but Dennis Cummings brought a clip-on tie to the station, dropped it off. Thank you for that, Dennis. Do I wear them? That's the question. We'll see.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.